Hey guys, my name's Ben Howard. Today we're going to be getting back into a type of series I haven't done in a little while. First time I did this was with 1-speeds, and then I think after that I did the mid-ranges with 0-0 flight numbers. But this time we're going to be doing a March Madness style bracket with zone type discs, or zone clones, as I'm probably going to end up calling this series. But like I said, we're going to be doing a single elimination bracket with 16 of some mostly popular brands, but there are some more niche ones mixed into here. Try and do this once a week, every Friday. But for this first video, I just want to go ahead and make the bracket, and then all the videos after this is going to be the actual bracket being played out. And of course, I've got to have some kind of giveaway tied to this. So what we're going to do is everybody that comments which disc they think is going to win before the first video in the series comes out, which is going to be the Friday after this video comes out. But everybody that picks the winner is going to be put into a giveaway. And the winner of that giveaway will win whatever disc wins, and they'll get to pick 2 of the other discs that were in this series alongside the winner. I was thinking about doing some kind of like March Madness style bracket thing where like I would let y'all fill in your own brackets and everything, but I feel like that would have made everything too complicated. So we're just going to try it this way for this time, and then maybe next time I do this series we'll try something like that if that sounds interesting to y'all. So how I'm planning on setting up the bracket is I'm going to compare each one of them to this Ringer GT zone, which obviously is not a zone, but it's basically the same thing. It just has the groove track on top. But obviously, the more it resembles the zone, it's going to be higher. The less, lower it's going to be. And obviously, the Ringer GT zone is also going to be number 1 because it's about as close as you can get without actually being a zone. The main thing I'm looking for, and I'll try to make sure I put this on the screen, the parting line is basically right in the middle of the disc. Right below it is where the rim goes down, and it's a 45-degree angle, basically, or it's really straight. But right above the parting line, the shoulder of the disc goes up, and it curves up, and it's completely flat on top. So I'm looking for is that 50-50 split from the rim and the shoulder, and I'm looking for that lower feeling profile on the hand with a super flat top. And hopefully, as I go through all those discs, you'll be able to see it. But the first disc we're going to be looking at is the West Side Harp. It has a pretty good balance. The parting line is basically in the same spot as the zone. Only difference is the shoulder is a little bit more rounded, and the rim, or like below the flight plate, doesn't come down in a straight line. It kind of swoops out, and the harp has a bead. So obviously I got to put it in the second spot right now. But there's going to be a lot of discs that are going to beat this because of that shape. Next, we've got the Entropy from MVP. This one has a very similar shape under the parting line, has a very similar ratio from the parting line, but above the parting line, it's a little bit more rounded, and it feels like it's a little bit wider in the hand. It feels a little bit more like a mid-range. Still going to go above the harp, but I'm sure there's stuff that's going to beat the Entropy. Next, we've got the Yarn from Castoplast. This one has a much more mid-range style of rim. The parting line's super high on the disc, and while it does have the same round-off shoulder at the top, the rim is much deeper, and it's kind of swooping out. So I'm going to put that below the Entropy for now. Next, we've got the Distortion from Prodigy. This one's pretty close. The parting line's a little bit higher, but it doesn't really feel that much different than a zone. Maybe a little bit similar. Yeah, it actually feels almost exactly like the Entropy. The only difference I would say is the Distortion has a little bit of dome to it, so I'm gonna put it just below the Entropy for now. Next, we've got the Owl from Stokely Discs. On this one, the parting line's a lot lower, so there's less rim. The rim does have a similar shape to the zone, but it's more of like a 60-degree angle instead of the zone, which is like a 40-degree angle. And once again, so I got a super high pop top, and the shoulder's not quite as rounded. So I'm gonna put that, below the Distortion. And oh shoot, I didn't mean to put the Yarn above the harp, so I'm gonna put the Yarn at the bottom for now. Next, we've got the Area 51 from Doomsday. This one has almost like the exact same proportions as a zone. It's just that it's a lot smaller. Feels very, very shallow in the hand, but I'm going to put that above the Owl, I think, because other than that, it feels very similar. And next we've got the drop Discmania, and this one's basically a zone. Everything is the same. Same, like parting lines right in the middle. The rim has like this, almost the exact same angle. Maybe it's more similar to the owl in the Area 51, but the shoulder's the same, super flat top. Like this is definitely gonna be number 2, and it's gonna be hard to dethrone that one. Next we've got the Culprit from Dynamic Discs. This one's interesting. Doesn't have a flat top at all. Has a bead, but the rim shape's pretty similar. Has a very high parting line similar to the Yarn. I think I'm gonna have to put it below the Yarn. This just feels like a mid-range. It feels like an overstable mid-range. It does not feel like a zone at all in like any way. Next we got Elevation Disc Screech. And this one is very similar to a zone. The only difference I can spot is the parting line's a little bit higher, but the rim angle is the same. The shoulder's almost the same. Maybe it's a little bit sharper, but very, very similar to a zone. I think I'm gonna put it, I'm gonna put it above the Entropy for now. Yeah. Next we've got the Pillar from Goliath Discs. This is basically a zone. It's just like in a cartoon when they put like an air pump into something and blow it up. It's just so much thicker. It's just super deep compared to a zone, but the proportions are all the same. So I think I'm gonna have to put it, I'll put it above the Area 51. Next we've got the Copperhead from Lone Star. This one's interesting. The parting line's basically the same. The angle of the rim's almost the same, but has a bead on the bottom, has a groove track on top, and it feels like it has more of a mid-range wing on it. So, with it having a flatter top, I think I'm going to put it above the Owl. Yeah. Then we've got Toro from Innova. These feel, like the proportions are almost exactly the same. The only difference is all the Toros have this little lip on the very edge of the shoulder, which is actually something I really like about the Toro. It has that little lip. It kind of feels like a groove track, but it's not. Other than that, it feels exactly the same. Yeah, I'll put it above the Distortion. I think that feels about right. Then we've got the Savior from Latitude. This one is interesting because it's got more of like the yarn shape to it, where the parting line's really high. It's got a really deep rim, but it feels very shallow in the hand. Let me feel it and the yarn compared. Yeah, the space between the parting line and the shoulder is a little bit deeper than the Savior. So I'm gonna put it above the Savior. I'm gonna put the Savior above the yarn. Next we've got the Fjord, I think is how you say this, from Alpha Discs. This one is like super close to being a zone. The proportions the same, angle of the rim's the same. The only difference is the shoulder's a little bit sharper. So it's not quite as rounded, but it's, I'd put it right above the Toro for now. And last but not least, we've got the Breaker from DGA. And I've heard a lot of people compare these to zones because they say it's like a zone SS. But in the hand, this does not feel anything like a zone. Parting line's a lot lower. It's got a bead. It's a much shallower feel to it. And the rim's a lot more rounded off. I think I'm going to put this right above the Copperhead. Just right there, I think. Yeah, that looks good to me. I'm going to go through all of them real quick just to make sure I didn't overlook anything. But I think this is going to be pretty close to what our final results. Okay, so I made 2 changes. First one is I bumped the harp up a little bit more. Main reason being the depth of the harp is very similar to a zone. So I went ahead and put it above a lot of the other ones that don't feel a lot like a zone or have different characteristics than a zone, but don't have the same depth in the hand. And then I bumped the Screech down just a little bit, just because obviously it's made out of rubber. It doesn't feel that bad compared to some of the stuff I felt from Elevation, but we do need to bump it down just a little bit because when I do grip it in my forehand, as you can tell, it kind of indents in and doesn't feel the same. So I just bumped it down right above the Toro. Yeah, so all the discs are put up into their seeds. I have an online bracket maker that I found, and I'm going to go ahead and put all the discs into that. I'll make sure to put that at the very end of the video, and I'm also going to make a community post about it. So if you want to see what the next few matchups are going to be, you can check that out there. But the next video in the series is going to be the Zone versus the Culprit. Remember to go ahead and go down and tell me which disc you think is going to win out of all these. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about the series and what other discs you would like to see me try with some different types of brackets, or if there's anything else you would like for me to try with this series. But thank y'all so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and y'all have a good one.